Wow.
I love it. I love it.
In the DJ booth.
There it is. Well, we've got a champagne squad going. I think we have one more to join us, maybe two more, actually, special guests. So thank you guys all for coming out and celebrating and open some bubbles. What's everybody drinking? Jeff, what are you drinking tonight?
1995 Blanc de Millénaire, in honor of you, Philippe.
My man, you know how to hit home. I really appreciate that, brother. Thank you for the love.
Absolutely.
Jackson, what are you drinking tonight?
I got a new producer I found the last year or two. This is Pio Saviano. They're a tiny little producer. They're in the Valley de la Marne, Meunier-based champagnes, super brisk, bright, great terroir focus. This one's called Essence de Terroir. And yeah, it's awesome. They're just a really small family making really good champagne.
Cool. So if you had to categorize the flavors of Meunier for folks that have never tasted Meunier, what would it be like for you?
To me, Meunier is like it's the base note sometimes in champagne. You know, I think of Pinot Noir as the treble, and I think of Chardonnay sometimes as the mids, the kind of rounding, stuffing thing, and Pinot Noir providing that really like poppy, shrill acidity and brightness. And then Meunier is kind of that like undergirding, rich, you know, unctuous quality that I find in some of the champagnes I love the most. And Meunier is probably my favorite champagne grape. I just find myself always going back to Meunier champagnes. Of course, I love Chardonnay and Pinot champagnes too.
I love the different values they all bring to the table, and they're so complementary, and at the same time they're so unique. So anyone watching, you got to check out a champagne that is Meunier based. I think it's an expression on its own. Very, very cool. John McDaniel on the call. What are we drinking tonight?
So I'm drinking the first monopole in Champagne, Clos de Gouas by Philippe Pinot, Extra Brut 08.
Boom.
I'm alone in a hotel in Dallas, Texas, so it's going to be a freaky night. I'm excited.
Hey, we'll get you there. I love it. Again, thank you guys all for tuning in tonight. Hello to everybody in the Facebook world. Thanks everyone for joining us on Zoom. If you haven't noticed, we have a very unique theme tonight, which is you get to join us virtually for the first celebration of the USF board. I guess it's the first time that the USF has had a virtual champagne glass of wine together. So this is a great moment. I'm so honored to be a part of it with all of you. We've got the prez on the call. Christy Norman, would you like to share with everybody, you know, a few things about what you're drinking? What do you have in your glass?
Oh, this is Krug 168, so 168th edition. There's like there's 111, I think, different vintages in here. It's a ton. It's like the perfect oxidative, kind of supple, fruity. It's like breakfast wine. You know what I mean? Like I drink it for breakfast. This is actually my last bottle, 168. It's so sad, but it's delicious.
I have a feeling there's another one in your future very soon. I promise you that.
I hope so. You know.
Hey, Christy, talk about the glass you're using for champagne, because probably some of the callers don't know why you.
I knew somebody was going to ask about that. I know. Well, the real answer is that my flutes are dirty, to be honest. But the second reason, well, I just love these glasses. These are Gabrielle glass. So they're kind of like Zaltos, except for I break Zaltos all the time. So it's, So exactly. So Gabrielle glass, it's they have like really thin ones. They're called like the gold edition that actually feel like Zaltos, but these are the slightly thicker ones, and they're good for the dishwasher. And I just throw them in there, and they're fantastic. And so they're technically like all-purpose glasses, and they really do a good job. So this is mostly what I do my tasting out of, to be honest. But I like being able to stick my whole face in.
But the size of the glass for champagne, I think that's something that people might be interested in, because most people drink it out of a flute.
Okay, well, I can't breathe that well out of the left side of my nose, and this has been like my whole life. I think I have a thing. If I don't, you know, if I come back with a nose job one day, it's definitely because there's something like wrong. But so I stick my whole face in the glass whenever I taste. Like it's always this side, and so I like to be able to have a wider bowl. But some people prefer it. I like to be able to have all the aromatics and just kind of feel it wafting out of the glass, whereas a flute, it's just a cylinder, so you can't really get as much out of it. I don't know, it's just my preference. I don't think like there's a right or wrong. What do you guys think? I don't know.
I don't think there's
It's my
anything wrong with drinking
preference.
champagne ever, but
And
I
Ever,
do
yeah.
think it's important.
Drink it out of a coffee
that
mug, you know?
Yeah, you
Yeah.
got to try. I think trying different ways, you know, to enjoy it is always, I think, a fun experience. And I had the opportunity to taste, you know, the Riedel experience, which I think we've all kind of heard of in many ways. And that shows you a lot about, obviously, stemware and varietal specific stemware that they do. But for me, it just helped me to kind of think that I can try things on my own, which is a lot of fun. Chris, what are you drinking tonight?
I've got the J. LaSalle Brew Rosé, one of my favorites.
Okay.
A Kermit Lynch import. These guys are awesome. Got this down at Whole Foods, which is pretty fun. Yeah, it's our favorite. We're gonna have tonight. We're doing like this crab pasta, but the best is really with the harissa popcorn. So you do your regular popcorn, and then you throw on a load of Parmesan cheese, and then ground harissa on the top. Mix that all together. I like hot sauce too, but that's a perfect combination for me. I know it's weird.
Hey, yeah. I mean, honestly, I'm all about the, you know, unorthodox pairings with champagne. I think it's something that, for me, is such a personal experience. Just like we were talking about with a glass, everybody has their own personal preference. Just like, you know, picking out a wine, you know, rosé, vintage, talking about different regions, and it's a personal thing. Jeff, what's one of the most, you know, unique pairings that you've thought of with champagne that you've never really thought of that you would be great until you tried it yourself?
Actually, it was in France at Malasco in Margaux, and it was a big co-brand dinner that they were doing during Union de Grand Cru. Oh, it was either Union de Grand Cru or Van Expo, one of the two. All I know is that the gypsies ransacked the car and stole my computer. But
Oh my God.
at the end of this meal, they served us Taittinger champagne rosé with chocolate cake, and I never would have put those two combinations together, and it was absolutely magic. So it was like one of those things that you have to taste chocolate with rosé champagne to believe that it works. Otherwise, you'll never believe it works, in my mind. Maybe I'm late to the party, but you know, that was the most amazing champagne combination.
Well, you can't go wrong. I got to say, you can't go wrong with fried chicken, of course. I know it's kind of cliche now, but the fried chicken that I make has a lot of spice to it, and Blanc de Blanc's the best. I mean, rosé's pretty good as long as it's got a lot of fruit to it, but especially with biscuits and honey butter, then a piece of chicken, right? You know, Tanya.
I do. And you know, it really works with Blanc de Blanc because of the minerals and the acids that are there. It really cuts through the fattiness of the biscuit, the butter, and the chicken.
Yeah, that sounds
and
good.
the honey. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm hungry.
Well,
I know, right?
Exactly. This is dangerous. So it's 7 o'clock here in Chicago, so I'm ready to get into it. I'm ready for dinner after this.
I think you got to use a regular wine glass. I mean, I got yelled at once. I was doing the Pebble Beach Food and Wine, and I forget. Oh, I think it could have been Taninger. We were doing like Comte de Champagne or something. The guy came out. We had flutes set up and everything. And he actually yelled at all of us. We were the people that are out there buffing glasses. He said, "Get rid of all these flutes. We want these basic wine glasses." I thought, "You're crazy, man.
Yeah.
That's a lot of work." But we went out and put them all out, and they tasted way better. So I'm always a fan. You know, that's the way to go. Sorry to throw that out.
I'm always a fan of letting people try both, and so that they can see there's a difference.
Yeah.
You know, the wine tastes different. I think it's much more aromatic, and there's a lot more layers when you have a bigger bowl. And so,
what do you think about decanting champagne? I've been asked to do that on the floor a number of times. I think it makes a big difference as long as you got a party that's going to drink it fairly quick.
Yeah.
It works a lot better for older vintage stuff where, you know, the bubbles have dissipated, and it's just a really great, incredible wine that, you know, oxidation has happened, all those things. So, you know, decanting really kind of livens it up for some of those older bottles.
And I think we also have to remind people with champagne, as it ages, it does become more like still wine, which is the originator to begin with. So it really turns into great white wine are much more like a white or even a red Burgundy, if you would, which is actually really exciting, especially as you start getting into, you know, the 60s, 70s, and 80s. You know, there's not much bubbles left, actually. Yeah. Anyway, I think it's really cool and exciting.
I was just going to say, I had to do a guy named Eddie Gelsman. Do you guys know him at all from back in the day?
I know Eddie.
Yeah, he used to.
I know Eddie.
Red in Yountville, and he said, "Oh, I got this bottle of champagne that came off the Titanic." Like, yeah, whatever. But he had all these bottles. He was with Paul Roberts at Red.
Okay, weird flex, but okay.
Yeah. He had like bottles from the 20s and 30s and 40s and all this stuff. I've never seen it. I was like, I don't know what to do at the time. So I was with Paul Roberts, and he said, "Well, you just put the serviette over the top, stick your corkscrew through that, and just start wailing on it, because they start falling apart. They're black and everything, you know, just gritty all over. And then you pour it in. I've never had anything like that. It's amazing how maybe the bubbles weren't exactly there, but the flavors were, I mean, just incredible. You guys ever had anything that old like that from champagne?
Not sparkling.
Yeah.
Yeah, at
Christy?
Oh yeah, at Spago we did. There was a collector dinner, and they brought in all of these really old champagnes, like from the 40s to like the 70s. And I was by myself that night. And so I called Philip because I had just started. I didn't know what to do. And I was so scared that it was going to pop really loud. And it didn't. It was just like a, you know, just little thing. And I was so scared because I, you know, just terrified. Yeah, but it was amazing. It was actually really great. Yeah, a little kiss. Okay.
Well, guys, I think, you know, we should also remind everybody that's watching what brought us all together. And I think what's incredible is that we have passionate folks all over the country that have joined forces to really bring some things to light and to really celebrate. You know, we've gotten through a really difficult part of our, you know, our history as a nation, and obviously as a wine-loving community. And, you know, so for some folks that maybe don't know about the USF, we're the United Sommelier Foundation. And we've got a vision for where we can take our community as sommeliers and wine professionals. And so today we're excited to share some of that vision with you. Also our passion for wine and the future of our industry. Our vision is really a community. And, you know, I think we're all here representing different various parts of the industry that galvanized come together behind a goal of really prospering in terms of support, in progressiveness, and also taking care of one another when times are tough. And so we are really proud to partner with Benchmark to bring these things to light. Our foundation is really very much in its infancy. We hope that we're talking about this in 20, 30 years, that we've kind of created a foundation for, you know, the future, the next generation of the folks that will be up here on this type of panel. And I couldn't be, you know, more proud of the work that, you know, my fellow panelists today have done. And, you know, I think we're all kind of pushing in our own direction. And at the same time, we realize that when we all push together, we have an incredible amount of power. So it really is a real treat, and I have to salute everybody on the call today. Congratulations, guys. We've done an incredible feat. Thank you guys all for your efforts. And I know that we are just at the beginning. So maybe, Chrissy, if you wouldn't mind speaking to everyone about the USF, how it started, and maybe give some folks the backstory here as to what we're up to and where you think we're going to go.
Yeah,
Can I say
absolutely.
something first? Can I say something first
about Jeff?
So it started as a collaboration between Christy and Chris Blanchard. And Christy's the kind of person that if somebody's in trouble, she'll be the first to charge out there and raise money to help them. When the whole challenge with the Master Sommeliers and the email stuff came down, she was the first one, well, how can I help the rest of these sommeliers retake the test? And she called me and she called everybody and she got it going. And I mean, I have never met anybody with a heart as big as Christy Norman. She is, and she just, yeah, she sent me a text on on St. Patrick's Day at about 1 a.m, which I was long since asleep. I'm not drinking beer anymore. But she said, "Hey, we got to do something. Are you willing to help?" And I said, "Absolutely, I'm willing to help." And that was the genesis of this whole thing. And I'll let Christy take it from there.
Thank you, Jeff. You're so sweet. Well, Chris Blanchard, who is my co-founder, he and I were masterclass at Spot there for a long time. And I was at Spago 5 nights a week. And most people don't know that, just floor somms, we don't make a ton of money, right? I mean, some of them are paid like servers. It really depends. Even some wine directors, there's a really wide range. It doesn't mean that somebody's rich because they're drinking a bunch of great wines all the time. And so I was at Spago 5 nights a week. And so when the pandemic started coming down, I was the first to be cut, and I knew that I would be, the last to be hired back, essentially. And so Chris and I were hosting a masterclass on March 16th, the day after restaurants closed. So we canceled it at 2 a.m. Chris literally, he had to cancel his flight. And he texted me a couple days later, and he was like, "What can we do to help the somms?" And I was like, "All right, well, let me call like the most incredible people that I know all around the country." So we called all these people that are on your screen today to get this together. And it wouldn't have happened without all of your credibility. I've only been in this industry for 5 years. I'm 26 years old, but it's because of all of you and all of the experience and relationships and effort that you've put in for so many years that this vision came to reality. And I'd like to pass it to Chris, if you don't mind, to kind of give us an update of what we've done and how we've done it, because Chris has been the one writing every single check by hand.
Thanks.
The treasurer.
The treasurer.
Yeah, my family and I went out to Bodega Bay on March 16th instead of going to LA. And on that March 17th, I had my last shot of Jameson at the restaurant before they had closed, maybe a couple of them. And then I got a couple calls from some people in Nevada who were literally freaked out. They had kids and everything. And Christy and I talked that night. And I remember I still have the text on my phone here where you said you should start a GoFundMe page. And so that, I didn't know how the hell to do that. And at 1 a.m, maybe when you were calling and texting Jeff, I set up a GoFundMe page. And, Laurent Perrier was the first, big person that came out, and she donated $2,500 on the GoFundMe page. I about died. I couldn't believe how much money that was to help people. And from there, it's just blossomed. And I actually did some treasurer work today, and I came up with the actual total.
You got the abacus? You put the abacus aside for this? So you don't have to...
The abacus. Yeah, I have a calculator somewhere. You don't know. We've had some unbelievable donations, and I think it's important to recognize, people like Jeff and Kistler with 50 grand, and people like 100 Acre, donated over $115,000. Acker through the auctions, $325,000. Co-brand with $100,000. Skurnick, $50,000. Palm Bay and the Top family, $25,000. The Cork Consortium, $20,000. Barrels, Bouchard just donated $5,000 this month. And so people are just donating right and left. And to date, I know, Jeff, you wanted us to get there, but we're at $935,000 that we've raised.
Wow.
Since March 17th. Or March 18th, the first GoFundMe donation.
I want to donate the $1,000,000th. I donated the first dollar. I want to donate the $1,000,000.
He did.
So if you're out there right now, call us up. Get on your phones and call. We need 6.
Yeah, we're almost there. We've got like 30 minutes still. So you guys, for every minute, we can probably get there.
We needed a telethon board for the time. We messed that up.
We need to have the numbers streaming at the bottom of the feed like all night long.
I want to have like a bunch of baboons like with headsets on and like phones like in a huge bank. Like, that's gonna be amazing.
Well, if anybody wants to help us get to that goal, I know I'm being really cheesy right now. Just go on the website and there's a donate button. You press it, and just got $5,000 from Gonzalez Bias today in Sherry Country, who just dropped $5,000 on us. I mean, so things are happening right and left. And remember the important thing, if you're listening, the money goes right out. Christy, the money goes right out. You're working your ass off to confirm with people. I'm sitting at this very desk, I've got my checkbooks out and I'm writing, and it goes right out to the people. So it's a great organization. And let me just say, I'm so proud to be on this board with everyone. And I can't believe what has happened since March. It's just unbelievable. I love you all from the heart.
I know people that have been laid off this year, 4 times.
Mm-hmm.
They've gone through, you're hired, you're on, you're off. You're on, you're off. It's horrible.
Yeah.
It's a horrible situation.
Yeah, I can't wait to see you in person someday. We're going to rage.
We're gonna rage. Yeah, we've never been in the same room. I think this is the first time we've actually been on video together, all together, because we've had conference calls, you know.
Yeah.
But you know, if I wasn't clear, because I don't think I actually said, you know, we give financial grants to sommeliers in need, and it's completely anonymized. So all of their names, locations, restaurants, they're redacted, and we try to support as many people as we can. And all of these people on the call have donated so much time, and none of us get paid. Nobody gets paid on our board.
We get to drink great champagne though, so.
We do, and I know a lot of folks watching are drinking great champagne. So I have to give a shout out and a thank you to Benchmark for donating 10% of the sales leading up to this call. So thank you guys so much for participating, and thanks to Benchmark for supporting the USF from the very beginning of the Raid Your Cellar series. Maybe Jackson, could you maybe tap in and say, you know, what it means to be a part of the USF for you, and maybe some of the things that you've experienced since your time on the board in terms of outreach to the community? And, you know, I've seen, and I know it means the world to a lot of the Soms that are going through a difficult time right now. Have you heard from anyone and seen anything that you could share?
Yeah. So this is crazy. I mean, I just started this business this year, right? And so, like, hell of a year to try to start a new venture. Like,
tell us the business, man. You got to drop the business. Let's go. Everybody knows.
I would love to. Yeah. So we're here in the warehouse right now. This is the Crunchy Red Fruit warehouse, and you can see, like, we literally have boxes we're packing down here. We got our Christmas tree. We just got shelves, which I'm like super excited about. I shouldn't be this excited about shelves, but I very much am. Like, it is great. So, and on the table behind me, our wines we're pricing out. So we're getting ready for hopefully a nice little open air warehouse sale this weekend. But anyhow, let me cut to the chase. We started this business this year and had no idea this was going to happen. Had to do some pivots. You know, I did a little bit of a relief campaign for Seattle restaurant workers through this biz, and that really was like a good pivot for us. And we just had to, like, throw new things at the wall and see what sticks, and just try new things. And we try something new every couple of weeks, every month, and we're slowly figuring it out. But one of the most amazing moments, and I don't remember if I told you guys all this, but my intern who helps, she does like some web design stuff, does photography for us, just ways that I'm not an expert that she is, and she's been really awesome. She works as a bartender in Somm at a restaurant, and I had told her about the USF and told her what I was doing, and then she, like, sneakily applied for funding, and then she got funded. She got a check in the mail. It was so cool. She told me, she was like, "Wow, thank you." And I'm like, "Yeah, I didn't know. I wouldn't have known it was you anyway, because, like, all the voting is blind." But, you know, so, like, it's a personal thing, right? Because I started a new business. I can't pay myself. I can't pay her. We're still in that growth stage, right? But she told me that the USF, like, reached out after she'd gotten laid off from her bartending and Somm job and cut her a check, and that helped her make rent. And that is, like, amazing. So.
Yeah. It really is one of those things that has helped me get through this time, knowing that, you know, we're not alone in this. And I think some of us have been really fortunate to be, you know, employed, frankly, through this. And what I've been thinking about is, you know, how do we actually support others? And it's been incredible to see that direct help, paying people's groceries, rent, car notes, medical bills, you know, whatever. And it's been so incredible to see the, you know, the ability for us to be dynamic in that approach. And so, you know, John, maybe do you want to talk about a little bit of some of the work that you've seen happen recently, and what, you know, what you got going on?
There we go. Thank you, sir. Yeah, you know, it's an amazing thing to think about. As Christy had said, you know, most people in our industry you know, don't have the, you know, they may have the wardrobe like Philippe, but they don't have the income like Philippe. So it's all about really, you know, as a sommelier profession, you know, we don't all make six figures, and, you know, we have to act a certain way. We have to, you know, we have to create a certain image that matches, you know, the prestige of the wines that we're trying to sell. You know, if we showed up in ratty t-shirts and, you know, a server uniform to your table trying to talk about $500 Burgundy, like that just doesn't connect. So, you know, it's really all about, I think, for all of us, you know, and, you know, our board does so many different things, and it's great to see, you know, in our attendees, you know, some people in the industry and some consumers as well. You know, we're all passionate about wine. You know, that's kind of where we started this. And, you know, sommeliers are storytellers, and to be able to, you know, help out people that they don't know the next time that they're going to be able to do that. They don't know the next time they're going to be able to, you know, connect with their guests. And we've all had to transition in ways of, you know, doing virtual tastings and private events and all those kind of different things, that those are all new businesses for a lot of us, and they don't replace 100%, you know, for a lot of these individuals of where they're coming from. And so, you know, there is not one sommelier that is, you know, out of work right now that would not love to, you know, be toasting champagne. So, you know, I think as a board, we're all very lucky, and you know, some of us have had to, you know, shift our entire kind of thought process about, you know, what our livelihoods are about. And, you know, so I kind of drive our fundraising committee, and it's amazing to see, you know, as Chris listed some of our, you know, incredible partners, you know, Co-Brand and Kistler and 100 Acre, you know, some of these great companies and great wineries that, you know, they're not at 100%. They're struggling to sell their wines. They're struggling to connect with their consumers. A lot of them are mostly on-premise, you know, business related, and their customers are out of work. Their customers aren't buying from them, and still to be able to, you know, kind of rise above for the entire industry is really incredible to see. And so, you know, definitely encourage, you know, everyone that is listening. Obviously, you have come for champagne, and we're, you know, we're shifting a little bit of what we're talking about, but I think it's just a celebration of, you know, we in the hospitality business, you know, as Bobby Stuckey says, you know, we're all, you know, just doing our best, and we're all hospitalitarians at the first, and that's what we're really trying to do. And that, you know, this organization is not just here short term related to COVID, but really, you know, the next tornado or wildfires or whatever, you know, we as an organization hope to be there for the future of our industry. As Mia, our board member, joins us here, and welcome, Mia. So that's, you know, really what kind of we're all about, and just, you know, trying to, you know, rise above and help everyone, and just lift our industry, and, you know, all while trying to, you know, share great wines. And so anyone that's on this call, you know, that if you need to if you want to hire a sommelier, if you want to, you know, create opportunities for, you know, people that may be out of work, you know, we, as Christy said, you know, all of our applicants are anonymous, but we try to help out and connect those dots, and provide for you the opportunity to help support them as well. You know, and whether it be a donation, whether it be, you know, wine for a future auction, or creating opportunities, you know, to directly support. So, you know, we're all, I think, you know, wanting it to come back to normal, but, you know, who knows what that's going to be for a very long time.
Awesome. Thank you, John. And I had to say hello to two new of our fellow board members here. What's up, Mia? How you doing? And hello, Eric. What's going on, guys?
What's up? It's cool. It's totally cool to be 30 minutes late to the party, right?
As long as you've got champagne, you're never tardy to the party, if you know what I mean.
I mean, for what it's worth, my apologies. Of course I have champagne. You know, Philippe, I almost popped that 3-liter of Heidsieck.
No, you better wait for me. You better wait for me.
You know it. But yeah, I apologize. I just came off another event, but do I have champagne? I got
carbon.
Champagne,
okay.
A little bit of F1 Bugatti carbon with what I call club mode.
I like it. I like it.
God.
Mia, what are you drinking tonight? And welcome.
I feel now my bottle feels inadequate because it doesn't light up. But I brought some Marc Hebrar selection Premier Cru. Just one of my favorite producers, little guy in the Valley de la Marne. Mostly Meunier, very delicious.
Yeah, we got some Marne going. Jackson's doing the same, and welcome, guys. You know, we were just touching on what.
Jackson, you drinking the same wine as me?
No, he's drinking some Marne. Yeah, but
I
not,
see.
Not the same wine. But we just touched on, you know, kind of the work we've been doing, and we're so proud to have this incredible group around us. I am as well, to see all these talented individuals. Tanya, what are you drinking again? I think you got something cool in your glass there that I'm curious to hear, because Tanya has this incredible way of explaining and expressing what's on her palate. So what are you tasting today? What are you tasting from that?
I have tonight the Laurent Perrier Grand Sec. It's number 24. Yeah. Number 24, which is vintages combined of 07, 06, and 2004. 55% Chardonnay, the rest is Pinot. The really wonderful thing is that it's coming from all these Grand Cru houses and locations. And I really enjoy drinking champagne out of a Burgundy stem, because I love to get all the nuances that are there, that are in the bottle. And this one, it's much more fresh. So it's more Pink Lady, apple, Golden Delicious. There's also some Red Skin, apple, a little bit of white nectarine and white flowers. There's also a bit of Meyer lemon, but when I think of Meyer lemon, it's actually much more Moroccan lemon than not, because there's this little bit of saltiness that is there with Moroccan lemon as well. And it's just absolutely delicious. And the temperature is just right as well. I don't like champagne super cold. It's probably at about 54 degrees right now in my glass. And so I'm getting everything. Yeah, it's really beautiful. And probably in about 5 minutes, those red notes, red fruits, will be coming through as well.
So Tanya, by the way, that was incredible. Thank you for taking us through the journey that's in your glass right now, because I'm jealous that I'm not tasting that with you. But you have a little thing going on with Benchmark this month, a little Somm Select, right? Yeah. I'm so excited to see the list come out into my email. I was like, boom, mature wines. I'm like, yes, let's go. Champagne, boom, let's go. Tell us a little bit about your list that you have out there.
So I was asked to pair up for the month of December with Benchmark wines to rate the cellar. And we've been working on this for months. And I just thought, wow, okay, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And I kind of looked at everything that everyone has done for the year. And I thought, wow, well, I could have done something like that. Or I would have possibly, you know, picked something of that, you know, something older from Spain and something, you know, older from California and something from Syrah. And I just said, you know what? One of my loves is champagne. I like mature champagne. I like fresh champagne. I love mature wines, period. And so I did just that. I rated the cellar, but I treated it as Tanya's secret stash, because for the month of December, it is my secret stash that I'm sharing with everyone. So the first week is everything champagne, old favorites, new favorites. And I really am taking everyone through the journey of my journey in wine. And, you know, the funny thing, I told the story of the wine cradle. And some people remember this. The wine cradle, as you walked into a restaurant many years ago, you would have, you know, a 6 liter, 8 liter, you know, on this swing, and the bartender would tilt it over and pour your glass of champagne. And that's my memory from being really, really young. I couldn't even drink at the time. And it was that beautiful, you know, etched bottle of Perrier Jouet Belly Poke. And
Yes.
so when I could start drinking and tasting, even before that, just smelling, I was pretty much enthralled. But even still, when I open a bottle of champagne, it just gets me really excited. I love champagne.
Well, I love listening to you talk about champagne. For me, that's something that I think is so incredible to hear you speak about wine in general. But the champagne and how you describe it is really a real treat. So thank you for sharing that with us. And I'm so excited to see. You have another list coming out? Did you have another one that's about to drop?
For this week,
oh,
it is mature wines from California. And
there you
so I just looked through and I was like, oh, there's this, oh, there's that. Oh, this is really interesting. So some of the curiosities, brands that are gone, things that were from the very beginning, brands that we know, brands that and houses that have gone through this whole, regeneration, of passing the baton, even if you would, to be able to see the past and taste the future as well, side by side, which not everyone gets to do that.
Yeah.
I
think that's what's
being
so passionate. I know, like looking at the benchmark list, and I always check it, once a week just to see what pops up, because you'll find that vintage that's incredible, whether it's your birth year or anniversary year or something special. It's fascinating. Now, I love older champagne. And Jeff, I think you have the oldest vintage champagne on the call today.
95.
You had 95. Tell us, what is 1995 like for you in the expression that you have?
Drinking the glass right now? Well, the aromas are like smelling a fresh pumpernickel. I mean, it's really kind of a real bready smell, bread, and it's like whole grains, and it's like caraway and all those kinds of aromas. Not the fruits all kind of died down, as has the sparkle. In the mouth flavor, it is similar to, and I'll be a homie here and say it is similar to some of the older bottles of Kistler that I've had in the flavor, but it still has a crisp acidity there, being that it's from Champagne. Even though the sparkle is just a minor part of the overall experience right now. And you had indicated to me that this was one of the first disgorged.
Correct.
It's been 14 years in the cellar. Not my cellar. I was gifted me about 4 years ago. So it was 10 years in somebody's cellar before it was in my cellar for 4 years.
So someone liked you enough to give you a vintage Blanc de Millénaire by Charles Heidsieck. And wow, that's really special. I need to shake that. I need to shake that person's hand.
I was selling both of these wines at Young's Market Company when they were both imported by Remy Martin Cognac Company. And so the only time I've been to Champagne, which is only once, sadly, I went to Taittinger, and then I went to Piper Heidsieck and Charles Heidsieck. And anybody that confuses you, the experience could not be more different. I went into Piper Heidsieck, and it was very commercial. It was almost like a Disneyland ride through the chalk cellars in these little cars, and you're looking around, you're seeing all the old chalk cellar, which was really cool, by the way. It was great. And then you'd get up, and they would drop you into this room that looked like you were in a nightclub, and it was dark, sparsely lit, neon pink lights everywhere, women in very short skirts serving you in champagne, and very, very commercial. The wines are terrific. I think, and when you're buying a $30 non-vintage from a big house, Piper Heidsieck is quite good. Then I go across the street, literally across the street to Piper Heidsieck, and it's going into somebody's home, Charles Heidsieck. It's going into somebody's home, and you sit down in the living room. I mean, it looks like 10 generations of wealth. I mean, when you walk into that living room, and you're really seated in there talking to you about the winemaking, and it was just a diametrically opposite experience. They're talking about the 40-year reserve wine in the basic non-vintage, and from a non-vintage standpoint, I mean, the quality of that is incredible. It's just like it really was like an all-encompassing champagne experience with those three producers that you saw just about everything, because Piper is one of the 5 best-selling champagnes in the United States. And Charles Heidsieck, even though it has the same last name, is actually relatively small.
We got some work to do.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, just in terms of the production too, it's much more limited.
Yes. Production is very small, and that's because we really are looking for the unique style of champagne, and the aging process is really crazy. We talked earlier about, we talked earlier. Yeah.
Philippe, I actually have a question for you. You're the one that works for a champagne house, and I'm curious in this, in this year, we talk about, and we're all here, to talk about, sommeliers and how they've been affected by COVID. I'm curious actually of, COVID has been a global, crisis, and it doesn't matter kind of what level that you're at, it's affected everybody. Kind of how has it affected even in Champagne, which, most people think of Champagne as this, very bougie place, but it's, just a lot of farmers and, hourly employees as well. How has, this year affected the house and, your team at the winery?
Yeah, I mean, it's significantly, I would say, is where I would start. We've had issues with production. And I mean, I'm talking about the people that literally take the bottles, label them by hand, or are packaging them by hand. All those things are disrupted. Our chef de cave, Cyril, has had to really readdress a lot of the challenges in terms of doing a lot of the things himself personally so that he's safe when he walks through the cellar. So he has a team of folks that are helping him in terms of, making sure that everything is maturing the way it should. So Cyril's been having to taste a lot of those reserve wines himself, which is, something that can be a difficult task. But for sure, we've had to halt a lot of the sides of production that we normally would do like clockwork. We've had to change that up. I think it's a fascinating, aspect to our business is that people think that, well, the bottles just show up and it's done. And it's like, no, there's definitely a human interaction that comes with making these wines. And a lot of our neighbors in the region have been affected, both in the vineyard, obviously, and in the cellar because of the limited resources that we have, and obviously the protection that is needed for our staff and our team. But it's a difficult thing. We're not anemic to it. Our production at Charles is interesting. I mean, this year we saw growers really get dealt a bad hand. Many producers, larger producers, have refused to purchase fruit, and at Charles we decided to purchase more fruit than ever to support our grower partners. They are our lifeline, and more importantly, they are part of our family at Charles. Many of our growers being with us for four plus generations. So it's important to make sure that they're part of the family. When we struggle, they struggle, and we're going through it together to support each other, just like we are, I think, as a community of wine lovers. So it's difficult. It's definitely one of those things that we are looking at. Sales are completely changed in a different manner. I mean, our winery, we're focused on mostly restaurants and partnering with chefs and sommeliers. And so instantly we had to go to a different audience, which is obviously everyone watching is the wine lovers at home that still want to have these beautiful wines in their glasses. The challenge that I've had is how to connect with these folks, because we know that we're not the most widely known brand or winery in the region. So it's sometimes we have to try to wave the flag as much as we can to celebrate what we've done over the last few decades in the vineyard and obviously in the cellar. So it's a challenge, but I think we're really proud to continue the passion that we have and dedication in the vineyards and in the cellar. So it's we're all fighting this together. We're all in it together. On a lighter note, I wanted to say, thanks, John, for the question. There was a question about champagne puns earlier, and I don't think there's anyone more suited to answer this than Eric Siegelbaum. Do you have a champagne pun for us by chance in your back pocket?
You think I would. God, put me on the spot. I got to think about that. I'm sure they do.
The punt is what's at the bottom of the bottle.
The punt.
I was gonna say just punt it. Just punt it. You'll be fine.
Yeah,
Just
okay.
punch
That's
it.
what I was thinking.
You can do it all. You can do it all day for me. I'll get back to that. Usually, I'm really good with corny, cheesy dad jokes, but
You have such a bubbly personality, Eric. Come on.
oh, nice. Love it. I love it. I love it. Well, I actually had a question. So I want to deflect on that. I had a question for Jeff. Jeff, when you were at Philippe's champagne house, did they still have the life-size standee of Philippe?
My house.
Yeah. When you were at Charlie's, when you were at Charles Hyde's, because when I was there, they had a life-size cutout of Philippe there. It was amazing. Was it still there when you were there?
No, I'm afraid not. I was probably a lot earlier. That's a brutal comment.
Oh, I see.
Oh God!
There you go.
Wow.
Just know I did not open that can of worms. Not at all.
Worms is in Germany.
Oh, jeez. Touche, my friend. Although I do have a souvenir from my visit. I couldn't take Philippe's standee, but does that look familiar, buddy?
Yeah,
Cool.
you took our. So Eric went and scoured through the winery and grabbed all the trash, and then he compressed it and he took it home. So that's fine. Thank you, Eric. It's recycling. I really appreciate your passion for saving the environment.
This is one of the coolest, most useless things I own. I think it's a paperweight, but it's not like my. It's windy indoors, so I just love it.
At the winery, we call it the cellar defense tool, because if somebody tries to come in the cellar to steal some bottles, you just throw it at them and you're good to go. That's how we defend the cellar defense mechanism.
I love it.
Mia, I had a question for you. What we were talking about older champagne a minute ago. What do you have, an older bottle of champagne that you tasted that you were like, oh my God, that was crazy, or I couldn't believe that this is still alive? Anything in your tasting recall?
I mean, so when I was working at 11 Madison Park, we had the great luxury of tasting a bunch of really crazy stuff. I think the thing that comes to, there were older things, but someone brought in a bottle of 1985 Krug at one point, which was just like incredibly beautiful and really like honeyed and magical, but in this very subtle way. The mousse was very fine at that point, and it had like this incredible depth, and there was sort of like a detailed feel.
Jackson's grabbing a bottle of 85 Krug right now. I know,
Yeah,
he's
right.
doing it. He literally went to a grab. No. He's like, oh, by the way,
I'm just getting water.
Together when we get to drink together. But it was, it was detailed like looking at a Renaissance painting, like everything is so specific, but also like it was really beautiful. And I don't have more specific, I don't know.
That's
like,
all right. That's all right. It's okay.
It's like this generalized impression of it.
I think it's a fascinating subject, because most people have never tried a champagne that is 20, 30 years old, and I know a lot of times people say, well, why is it so different than what's new? And I think it's miles different, but it's a very personal thing. I mean, I know some folks that love young, bright, vibrant champagne, and that's totally cool. Thank you for sharing that.
Hey, Philippe.
Yeah.
Philippe.
Yeah.
Years ago, when I worked at High Time Cellars in Costa Mesa, we bought a wine cellar from a restaurant that went out of business called Ambrosia. It was a great restaurant in the 1970s. And one of the fellows I worked with was born in 1952, and one of the bottles that we had out of the cellar was a 1952 Dom Perignon that I think at the acquisition cost, we got it for like $100. And so we're all at a dinner party, and we ceremoniously open it up. It was kind of like kids at a high school party. We're all in a circle. We're all drinking this Dom Perignon, and we're
a little different than a keg party, but I appreciate the reference.
A little different. Yeah, it's like, but we were looking at it. It was golden, and we're smelling it, and we're all kind of going, wow, this is still there. It was like 32 years old at the time, roughly.
Yeah.
I'm not sure exactly the year we drank it. I just remember my friend was born in 52. And all of a sudden, we all just stopped speaking. And we're all looking straight down at our glass. And it was like time-lapse photography. The wine was turning brown before our eyes.
Wow.
Yeah.
It just was, we're like, oh, better hurry. We just drank it up. Because I have never, I have never in my life seen anything before or since like that. It was just the oddest old champagne experience. The wine, it was terrific wine, but it was just, wow. How did that happen?
It's fascinating to really kind of push the limits of what, you know, the wine is. I mean, we're talking about fermented grape juice, and sometimes these become time capsules, and they also become a memory to your childhood, or to the person that really made you or influenced you in your life. And I think it's so incredible. And I know we all have those moments where you take the glass to your nose and you're instantly transported. So it really is a treat to be able to speak about some of these experiences. Speaking of someone who's had some really incredible experiences, we have one more special guest to come on, actually. And we're going to phone a friend here. If you guys don't mind adding on our special guest, honorary guest, Dave Parker here, joining us, the CEO of Benchmark Wine Group. Dave, are you coming? Are you there?
I think I'm here.
Dave!
Can you see me?
We can hear you.
Wait a minute. Oh, okay.
There you go.
Philippe, Eric,
thank you
Tanya, Chris, all my friends. Thank you so much for everything that you've been doing with and for us. I remember just surfing the internet one evening, and a GoFundMe page popped up, and I think our very best customer had just donated as maybe the second or third. And I said, I've got to get involved in this. And so we're so glad that Benchmark has been able to work with you guys, and you guys have come so far. I guess I'm here to announce that we'll extend our 10% donation to the United Sommelier Foundation if you buy champagne at benchmarkwine.com through tomorrow. And we've got some unbelievable champagnes. You want something going back in time, you want just cool new producers, it's all there. And I guess I'll also mention that you guys on the board are now sort of semi-official employees of Benchmark Wine. So if you want to buy for yourselves a bottle or two now and then at employee prices, you all of you are now semi-official employees.
David, this is a very dangerous offer.
I know it is. I said for yourselves, but we love what you guys do. You guys are fighting the good fight. Sommeliers have worked so hard for so many years for so little except for great wine. And maybe that's all that really matters in life. But we're so happy to support you. And I don't know, how close are you to $5 million or to $1 million right now, Chris?
We're about 65,000 away.
65,000 away.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully we'll help you with purchases coming up, and I'd love to work with you guys to come up with some other programs.
David, you were one of the first. You were one of the first people I remember when it came through in March to donate to us. A pretty sweet amount, and I really appreciate that. That really got us off the ground, so thank you. We're big supporters and big fans.
Okay, well, when you get really close to $1 million, ring me up.
Okay, I will. Trust me.
We'll work with you, but we've got some other things we'd love to do with you too. You guys are fantastic. For those that don't know these guys, I think you guys pretty much emceed the first dozen or so, or starting from number 2, Raid Your Cellars. So we're just really happy to be working with you guys. So anything we can do for you, just let me know. You know how to reach me.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave, so much. It means
so
the world
much,
to
Dave.
us. Yes, really incredible.
And
thank you.
For everybody, you know, to the coming new year, happy to see 2020 go away. To everybody's health and happiness. That's what we all do, right?
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. Absolutely. Absolutely. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
All right. Well, yeah, thank you guys all for joining us to this virtual edition of a holiday party. And we can't wait to obviously do this in person when the time comes. But please come back to us when you're ready for another virtual experience in the new year. I hope you guys are able to stock up on some bubbles. As you know, 10% of that is going to the USF. And so we're really proud to partner with Benchmark. And you have an incredible selection on hand. I have to give a little shout out and say thank you guys for my fellow board members for joining us on the call and taking the time out of their days to join us. There were some puns had, which means that we did, I think, what we set out to do from the very beginning. We had a Pac-Man suit on the call, and you know, that's what it's all about, you know, for the love of it. So, you know, again, thank you guys so much for all your support. Thank you guys for your love and appreciation for the region of Champaign. And we look forward to celebrating and popping a bottle with you guys all very, very soon. So thank you guys. Have a great Thursday night, and we'll see you guys very, very soon. Thank you to Benchmark. Cheers, guys.
Thank you for your time. Good job.
Cheers. Hey.